Welcome to the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Great day, everyone. It is time for the Sonia Buchanan Show, where we inspire one life, one smile at a time. Listen, we have a great show for you today, and I just hope that you will get a lot out of what I'm saying and think about what I'm saying before you make a narrative if you do not like what I'm delivering. But first, let me give you the title. It's called Relationship Equal Same Light. I want to dive into something, and it's more towards for the men to hear what I'm saying. And I actually stumbled across something, and I was thinking the narrative of how I was going to deliver this discussion today on our show. And for the guys to think about what I'm saying, and for the women to understand what I'm saying. And again, the title is called Relationship Equal Same Light. I was strolling across someone's page that is a leader in a particular organization or a particular position or mountain. You know, I talked about the 7 different mountains, and so you're not going to figure out which mountain I'm talking about, but that's not the scenario of mountains or business or any of that. It's about relationships. And my concern about relationships, my concern about me as a woman in one or discovering one in my life, or you discovering the best relationship for you going forward. And I was scrolling across the page and looking at the pictures and just admiring their place. But I noticed that in 2020, I also went there, and I've known of this person, and I've known this person for years, and we're not friends, but they are aware of who I am, and I am aware of who they are. And I went there because, of course, everyone was in lockdown in 2020. So I went there and, just listening to what he was speaking about, because, of course, everyone was online, talking to their people who they are an influence person of leadership. And I was on there admiring, and I most of the time I just go there, but this time I reached out and said, hey, and they responded back and said, hey, and but I noticed that I didn't even know that the person no longer was married. I had no idea. I just assumed that they were still in their relationship. And I never said anything. I just thought he still had the same glow and the same anointing and the same gentleness about himself. Now, 1 year later, I come across the feed that says that he was coming online, and I noticed one thing about him. His whole entire light and position of what he looked like has changed. The glory, the light, or I don't know I don't even know what to call that, but everything about his presence changed. And I thought, what has changed? And as I went through the website, and I noticed he remarried. And this was in 2021 when I said, oh, his presence changed. Well, it wasn't until recently, and we are in 2023, I didn't think much of it, but it did ring a bell, and I didn't understand, why did your presence change? In 2020, you still had the same glow and glory, and your presence was the same as you were still married, but at the time you were not married. You guys hear me out, because I want to talk to you all about something very important. I'm not here to judge whether or not he's married or not married or what happened in the marriage. This is not about that. This is something very important to you all, and I want you to really resonate on what I'm saying. But recently I noticed that his whole demeanor, his presence, his aura, his glory, his light has changed. And like I stated, in 2020, he was no longer married. But the glory and the light that I've known for years, like over 20 years, was still there. Now, his presence, his demeanor, his glory, his light, it has changed since he's been married. That's the part I want to talk about. And he's not the only one that I have noticed the aura, the presence, the light, the anointing on them. There was someone else in the same organization, the same mountain, that the original wife, he had a glory, anointing, and then when he remarried, his demeanor, his aura, his glory, his light changed from the second wife. Okay? This is not talking about what happened, why he's remarried, why he's divorced. This is not about that. It's about that light. It's about the aura of light descending. And I really had to think about what I was seeing because I did not understand. And as I stated before on all of my podcasts and the shows, I like to think about it and research and just kind of get some type of understanding so that it will not affect me in a negative way, but in a positive way. And I do the same thing when I'm delivering the show, and I want you to get a positive narrative based on what I've experienced or based on what I've researched. I want you to have a positive outcome on what I speak about. And again, the show is called Relationship Equals Same Light. And these was two individuals who was very magnetic in their leadership to the masses. And as they built their business, because I'm really careful about what organization, because I don't want you to have a narrative, because that's not what it's about. It's about relationship equals same light. And there's two people, and I noticed, and the reason why I want to deliver this, because the second time it signaled to me, okay, let me really, because usually when something is pointed out to me and I start to observe and I start to look what is happening here, two times, I said, you know what, I'm going to really think about this because this could affect me. It could affect me going into a relationship with someone, or it could affect me going into a relationship with someone and it affect my light, my ministry, my life, what I'm doing right now. It could affect either party. And so I looked at both scenarios and I said they both have the males, they both have a descending light on their life, and the leadership in their business is not at the same plateau as to when they were married to the original wife. And they both have remarried, and that descending light has occurred. Now, not to say I'm some expert over light, but when you go outside at 9 o'clock, you know it's dark. And you turn on your porch light and there's a light and there's a light in the dark. So you just know that there's something changed. There's something changed about them. And sometimes when things go on in your life and there's tragedy in your life, everything could change the whole outcome of you determining based on how you perceive it, how you receive it, how you comprehend it, how you allow it to emotionally affect you. It can change your aura. It can change everything about your public look. But I want to talk to you all about what I have come up with, what's happening, because I have to go back when there's things like this happens. I have to go back to the narrative and start reading a lot of things and try to get understanding. I start with spiritual knowledge. I start going to the spiritual the testimonies that is written, and I started just doing a lot of research because to me, when I saw the two guys' light has changed, it affects me. I take it upon myself and say, okay, could this happen to me? Or could this happen to a person that I would be in relationship because of me? Or could it happen to me and it affect their light because of me? It always come back to me. I want you guys to hear me out and listen to the entire show, because it is very important. Because the first thing that anytime when you see something, it's best to say, okay, what is this? How can I avoid what I'm seeing in my life? And how can I know a little bit more about that? Because I'm not judging them. I'm just seeing how would this affect me and what happened. Well, what I discovered is when someone, and this, now I'm going into the segment of relationships, and I want you guys to understand, we have so many people who are always talking about who is best suited to be in a relationship with me. The men would say, who is best suited to be in a relationship with them? And if they have been divorced, they are thinking about, maybe it was a mistake that they did what they did, or what she did what she did, but what would be the best scenario for me to go into another relationship? If you have been married for a length of time and now you're divorced, what would be the best scenario to go into another relationship? How do I select the right woman for my life? And that's the part I want to talk to you all about, is selecting the right partner. And reflecting on the fact that those two people, aura has changed. Now, you can take this however you want to, but I truly believe this is the truth, based on a long lineage of relationship. And this is not just relationship with a significant other. This is relationships with all facets of relationships. This is going to, hopefully that this show will give you a understanding of how to know that you are in the best relationships, whether it's friends, whether it's just co-worker friends, or whether it's just associate friendship, business partners. This show today will give you a highlight on what is best for your life to bridging relationship across the board. And what I discovered is that I'm going to use the scenario of the two guys that I saw that has remarried. And both of those people have built their businesses from ground up with the original wife. So that means that everything that they have learned together, every knowledge and every struggles and heartaches and all of that, they have formed an alliance with each other, and they have gained momentum of understanding on their journey. This is the men with the first wives. And everything that the male learned, the female in his life learned. So they were equal in their relationship. The foundation that they build with each other became glory upon glory. So when the male became a leader and a significant leader in leadership, not only in the public, but also in their family, that was the glory that everyone was witnessing. So when a midterm in their life, they no longer are together, and there's a separation called divorce, that light is still beaming. Okay, this is where I experienced with the guy in 2020. His light was still shining. He still had the same aura. He still had the same look. He still had the same charisma, the gentleness, and everything. And recently, I think it was like late 2022, everything changed. I mean, it's just like, where is that person? And I researched again, and they had remarried. And that disturbed me, because I'm telling you guys, I was looking like, okay, marriage is really serious. It is a spiritual bond. And as I stated, the two guys, as they build their relationship with the public and their business, and they build their relationship in their family, they were all on the same ground. They was equal. The glory kept building and building and building. Then they divorced. And the middle part, they still had the light, the ministry and the business was still going. Then they remarried. And then the descending light was no longer there. What's happening here? There's no fault to either party, the new wife or the leader of the new wife. But what happened is the level and the foundation in which a person is built with the original person, you have to find a new spouse, a new relationship, a new business associate with the same amount of knowledge and precepts and struggles that you did originally. You have to find that same place, that same foundation in the new person, and then you continue to grow and glory upon glory, not losing your light. When you connect with someone who does not have the same struggles and the same wisdom and the same knowledge and the same perspective of life, there can be a situation where there is a descending of a person's light to equal with the person that is lesser. Then you will build upon that. And you can do that if you want to. But I had thought about the decisions that you make. Are they equal to the first wife? And, I've seen people remarry and they remarry someone who looks like the original wife, the same demeanors. And I never understood that until today. That man knew to find someone equal to the first wife so that he can continue to build his life, and it does not take a descending effect to equal to the partner that he decided to choose and then bring her back up. If you want to do that, that's fine. But today I want to bring some enlightenment when you're making your partners, making a decision on who you're going to select. If you have found yourself divorced or separated, or your spouse is no longer with you, they have died and transitioned, this is a decision that you have to decide. Where am I? Where was the original wife and myself? And then finding someone at that place where you are, at that plateau where you are, making sure that that next person that you select, and this is man and woman, so that you no longer have to descend yourself with someone lesser than you, and then bring them back up, and then you continue to go glory to glory. And I know maybe those who are listening to this show today, you ask, how can descending light? Well, as I stated in many podcasts before, every time that you learn something and have experienced something and you learn from that experience, there is a glory upon glory. Knowledge and understanding is a light. And so that's why so many people marry like kind. If you're not a scholar in the Word of God, it says like kind. And so when you are selecting someone, you have to do an analysis on where you are before you choose someone. Are they at that place? Before you say, I do, and you have intimacy and you sealed that bond through intimacy. Because it could either descend you a little bit or it could ascend you a little bit. And as a male picking a new wife or a new relationship, and it could be any scenario. It's not just a divorce. It could be, as I stated, that your wife could have died or she's missing or anything. But selecting a new person in your life, a new associate, a new business partner, a new friendship, a new anything when it has something to do with relationships. And you have to find out where they are in their knowledge. Because like I stated, you guys, The energy and the light is all determined by your knowledge and your experience in life. The educational devices that will cause a person to descend or to ascend. And if you found someone who you are really loving and liking, you have to find out where they are and their knowledge about things that's pertaining to your life. And I know this sounds so taboo, but it's not taboo, because I have seen those guys' light is not as shining as they were before. And it made me think it wasn't them, because they were up at a place where I saw the glory of them, the light of them. Their whole aura changed. What I'm wanting the guys to understand is, make sure that you are doing your research and your education, your meditation, and your praying to find out who you're about to connect with, and are they equal to who you are? Because you cannot tell if a person is equal to who you are if they are what you appear to be. They, have it appearing in public. They have a lot of followers. They have all these things going on with their life, and you thinking that they're equal to you. And spiritually and energy wise, they're not equal to you. And it could be the appearance of what you see may not be the spiritual part of who they are equal to you. You cannot go by appearances. This is where people are being fooled and they descending light. And I'm going to be honest with you, it wasn't just these two people. I noticed that there was a young lady that I've known for over 30, 40 years. And she always had this essence about herself. It was just this essence of just elegant about herself. And she married in her later years, in her 40s. And when I saw her married, I was like, what in the world? She become to be like her husband, which was totally just threw me to the left. And I started noticing all of these things because I have not married. And a lot of people says they are looking for relationships where they are wanting someone that's equal to them. I hear women all the time who is educated, who is business-wise, who are at the plateau of their career. And I hear a lot of podcasts with men talking about, is it fair for a woman who's educated wanting a man to be exactly where they are? Yes, I would expect that woman to want someone as equal to her, because again, that descending light could happen to her trying to equal to him. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. I'm talking about something serious here, because I've seen those two guys and the young lady that I've known for years. The descendant, you do not want to lose the essence of your glory upon glory. It is the energy, the light of who we are. Because you're wanting, I'm falling in love. It's a little bit deeper than that. And on the surface, in the public, seeing on the surface, you would think that the person is equal to you because of the same tangible items that you own, monetary and all of that. But it's a little bit deeper than that. It's that spiritual connection. You have to find that spiritual connection. And is it equal to your spiritual knowledge, wherever you are in your spiritual relationship? Because that is the determining factor. And when someone says, I'm educated, is it education of a spiritual education? Because, when you get a little bit of knowledge and you start to understand and all of this, you can tell the educational factor, because a lot of people have education, but their spiritual being is really low on the measure stick. You could be educated and your spiritual education does not equal up to the education level that you went to school for. But when you find someone whose education level equals up to their spiritual level, They are people who you see the glory upon glory, and they not only educated themselves, they also educated themselves in a spiritual matter. These are the women who are asking to find a male equal to where they are. They're looking for not only education in the standpoint, and also the spiritual education, because as they educated themselves, the spiritual factors was elevated along with it, because there's a determined factor. But what I am wanting you to really look at, those who are single and looking for a mate, is to find someone on the spiritual level that you are and build each other up. These are the people who are more compatible with each other, not substantial of what you have in your bank account, where you living, your spiritual knowledge and your education. But the main factor in finding someone equal to where you are is that spiritual level. Because if you are high on the level of understanding your spirituality, and you are aware that there is a God who's watching over your life, and you wanting someone who is there. I know that says, there's this testament that says iron sharpening iron. You want to do that. You don't want to have to babysit someone that you married, trying to get them to come up with you. They have to have that same zeal or want to be an iron sharpening iron. You want someone who is wanted to be at a level and you elevate. These are the two men that I found before with their original wife. I assumed that was happening with the original wife. So when they remarried, I'm thinking, not to say whether she was lesser in education, but the decision matter is very important, that you choose someone if you have divorced or you're no longer with the original wife, to find someone in that same level where you left off for the original wife, so that you will not lose that light, that glory, that aura, that charisma that you once had before you separated from the original wife that you spent years and years to build. You guys, this is something that's very important. But your spirituality has more to do with the essence and your progressions in life, especially when you find a partner. There's so many different podcasts talking about relationships, but you want to sit down and ask, where are you spiritually? And ask God to send you somewhere where you are with Him, so that you will not be a descending factor on the male, or the male won't be a descending factor on the female. I know this is one of these taboo. You're probably not going to believe me, but we are spiritual beings, and you don't want to find someone that has a low spiritual connection, because it could affect your life tremendously. But that is all I want to talk about this week for you. And again, our message today, and the title is Relationship Equals Same Light. So I want you all to go and think about what I'm saying here in this podcast. It's very important that you find someone equal to your spiritual level, so that you can take that relationship and build upon glory. Even when you're divorced, you have to find someone that's equal to your level. And don't be deceived about what you see with your eyes. You have to get that confirmation from the spiritual being of God. You got to pray and meditate. Okay? So you guys go forward, and spring is coming. Love is in the air, and I want you to be blessed. This is your girl, Sonia Buchanan, with one life, one smile at a time.
Oh my God, I gotta tell you, I was having a moment and I decided to surf the net, and that's when I came across this website called Comforting Promises, which is a great website, by the way. And get this, on the website was a featured book called The Journey by Sonia Buchanan that was recently published. So I immediately downloaded the ebook on Kindle because it talked about, having faith for your life purpose. And let me tell you, the book is super great. I was so motivated to get back into the game, pursuing my goals. And you got to get the book because it's worth the read.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. The podcast was produced and edited by Sonia Buchanan. For more information about the host, you can go to soniabuchanan.com. For information about Comfort and Promises broadcast community, you can go to comfortandpromises.com.